Hi guys, welcome back to Food for Footy. So, this is part 3. Just a little reminder, this episode is sponsored by the Hungry Moose Cafe. We have our food in front of us. It's gone down very, very well. Very, very well.
It's just great breakfast, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've tried to save it. I've done really well, to be fair.
You have, to be fair.
I've refrained. I was eating very quick in the last segment, and I thought, nope, I stopped myself. Got to look after the body, and I.
Well, maybe this means that Merch might be with us next week.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that was it. Digestion issues.
Yeah, maybe.
I've got a sausage and bacon cob. Really enjoying it, and just once again, a huge thank you to the staff there. Really excited to be sponsoring this episode of the pod. And if you have a restaurant, a takeaway, if you want us to sample your food for Footy, please do get in touch and let us know. Right, okay, so I'm looking forward to this part, Merchie. This is Champions League memories.
Yes.
Okay, so Michael, Chelsea fan, super sub, got in touch, and Michael said that his memory is 2010.
Oh, okay.
Now, he said big thing for him was Wesley Sneijder.
Oh, yeah.
Let go by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
15 million into paid. Jose picked him up. Now, at the time, Sneijder had gone to Real Madrid, full of potential, full of talent. They brought a lot of Dutch players in. They brought Van Nistelrooy. They brought Robben in. Didn't quite click for them. No. First season, goes and wins the Champions League with Inter. Great story.
Yeah.
Great story. And look, we've all seen, Mourinho when he left Inter, crying with Marco Materazzi before leaving. But who thought at that stage that Inter Milan were going to win the Champions League? Incredible.
It just shows you what a manager Mourinho is.
Well, we said that in part 2, didn't we? When we were speaking about the comparisons with Arteta.
Yeah.
Great manager. Have you got any Champions League memories for us?
Yeah. So I remember one that sticks out is the 2012 final, the Chelsea Bayern. And I think the reason it sticks out, not because it was an English team, the reason it sticks out is because they played it at the Allianz. And Chelsea only had about 5,000 fans. It was basically a home game for Bayern Munich in the final. And obviously it was Drogba's last game. I really like Didier Drogba. What a player he was. Big game player. He was a big game player. So one of my favourite memories is watching that game with my dad. Many moons ago, I was still at school. If that makes you feel any better, mate.
It makes me very old, mate. So I was in the pub watching it.
Oh yeah, I was watching it with my dad. I think I was in year 11, mate. So
thanks, mate.
It's all right, don't worry. Yeah, it was a really good memory to watch. Drogba's header, what a header that was.
Yeah.
To generate that much power against arguably one of the best keepers ever at that time. Neuer, who revolutionised a new role in football.
Well, for context, for those that don't remember, Bayern were brilliant that game. They deserved to win. They were the best team by far. Chelsea got battered. Chelsea had sacked the manager. Di Matteo would come in through the season. Yeah. I don't think many people expected Chelsea to do. Chelsea had the moment with Torres before that. We all remember Gary Neville's unbelievable moment, and that had happened. And interesting, I was talking to Michael, our Chelsea fan. He was saying that there was a lot of hatred with Barcelona there because of what had happened seasons before, where they felt they'd been robbed.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that later. That's another memory.
Yeah, but. Big final. Do you know what? You're talking about early memories. So, 2002, Real Madrid versus Bayer Leverkusen. Now, 2002, I'm trying to think how old I was at that point. I was at school. I was at school at this stage. I was aware of the Champions League, but my team weren't in it that much at that point. We were sort of hit and miss with it. And I just remember hearing about the Galacticos. Figo signing. Roberto Carlos. Zinedine Zidane, Raul.
What team?
Amazing team. And obviously, you talked in the part 2 about wanting former players to do well. Real had Steve McManaman, who was a hero of mine. So I kept an eye out for them. And, it was really interesting memories. We used to watch Champions League on ITV or ITV2.
That's the way it should have been.
Great times. In fact, it was live for
free
everybody.
TV.
Oh,
it was
brilliant.
on free TV Champions League. And now, obviously, kids in this day and age might not be able to see the Champions League as much as we used to be able to see it when we were younger. It was on free TV, so there was always football on. You get home from school on a Tuesday, Wednesday, bang, can't wait for football tonight. Obviously, it's not your team, but you're watching football. So that in a memory itself, for me, Champions League being on free TV and being able to watch it when it's on every few weeks, it's brilliant.
But being able to watch like the teams you never got to see, Juventus, AC Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, so exciting being able to see these teams play. But that volley from Zidane,
left foot was it.
But the fact that you heard about Zinedine Zidane. So as a kid, you heard how good he was, but there wasn't. It's not like now.
It's not like there is now.
La Liga wasn't broadcast much, if at all, at that stage.
There was nowhere to see clips of stuff. Obviously, you scroll Twitter now.
YouTube didn't exist.
There's clips of football all the time. Reddit is where I go to see all the clips of my football. There's clips everywhere, so you know everything about every footballer in the world, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Back then, you see him on telly once every few weeks. If you look at it.
But you heard people talk.
Yeah.
And, World Cups used to be, I think, a bit of a bigger thing during the summer because you got to see more of these players. So we'd seen Zidane.
Yeah.
We'd seen him win the World Cup with France against Brazil, etc. But what a volley. Yeah. What a volley. What a way to win a game. So there's a memory of mine. It's interesting because another one that I wrote down was thinking about like the teams. So AC Milan, they won it. When they took Juventus to penalties.
Yeah,
not a great game.
No,
but watching Cafu, Nesta, Stam, Maldini. That's just a back four.
What a team
that's
that was.
Just a back four. Kaká.
Oh.
Pirlo.
Kaká in his prime as well. Ballon d'Or winning Kaká.
Shevchenko.
Yeah.
How good Shevchenko was.
Oh my
God. Absolutely fantastic.
What a team that is on paper.
Managed by Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Managed by Ancelotti. We all think of Ancelotti, think of Real Madrid, but he was Mr. AC Milan back in the day. Wow. And I know AC Milan had a great result against Real Madrid this week. But back then, that team.
AC Milan were the team.
Oh, they were the elite team. Dida was a monster in goal. Absolute monster in goal. Unbelievable. They had Hernan Crespo at one point on loan from Chelsea. What a great player he was.
Yeah.
Gattuso.
Yeah.
Absolutely
midfield
fantastic.
general.
But then they bring on the likes of Jan Bell Thomason, Ambrosini, some absolutely fantastic players. Wow. But being able to watch this team play, absolutely fantastic. And all right, I'll put another pound in the swear jar.
Yeah, I know what's coming.
The Miracle of Istanbul.
Yeah.
The Miracle of Istanbul. There's two finals that stand out, and obviously, look, the rivalry that we have with Man United. I do remember, when they won the Champions League against Bayern Munich at the Nou Camp, because actually I was even younger, and I remember going to bed when they were 1-0.
And you're thinking, United
and I slept soundly, thinking, right, they've not won the European Cup. Woke up in the morning, said to my dad, "Go on, how was it watching them?" And he said, "They won." They won. I remember looking at him like, "What?
Are you joking?"
And then seeing the news the next day, because that's how you watch the highlights on the news.
Yeah. There's no other way, was there?
Yeah, and seeing Solskjaer, Sheringham, do their thing. Look, I don't like it. But it is a big memory.
It's a massive memory.
Massive memory. And that secured them the treble?
It did. It was a treble winning season, wasn't it? Yeah. So not bad at all. I think just going back to that Liverpool game. So 2005, I think that's another memory. I remember being a lot younger then. With one of my mates who's a Liverpool fan. Obviously 3-0 down. Being young lads, we just thought, we'll stop watching it. There's no point. Obviously they come back. So we was out playing. And then we heard it was 3-3. How does that even happen? There was no update as well. And that was like through word of mouth. Basically, somebody's parents shouting to somebody else's parents. Tell them it's 3-3. So that was a massive memory. I would say that's one of the greatest games of all time. I think it has to be one of the greatest games of all time. Just the way that, and I think also the way I think Gerrard pulled Liverpool through that. And there's debates about whether Gerrard was this sensational player. Watch that game alone.
Yeah.
This is non-biased, completely non-biased. Watch that game alone. Gerrard pulled Liverpool through that game. Single-handedly. Obviously, you had Dudek doing what he needed to do.
Unbelievable.
But Gerrard, with one of the greatest performances, second half performances of all time.
Well, we were talking about that Milan team, and that Milan team, we played them in the final, and absolutely incredible. And we had the likes of Jimmy Traore playing. We had Harry Kewell, who couldn't really stay fit. Milan Baros.
Yeah.
Luis Garcia. I loved Steve Finnan, but average.
Steve Finnan.
Right back.
Yeah.
And I said on a previous pod, even Yurtsi Dudek, an average goalkeeper, but Steven Gerrard was our world-class player, and he played number 10, he played number 6, he played number 8, he played right back. He was
right back,
everywhere during that final, and when he scores that header, you see him go like this to the crowd.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You knew from that moment, Liverpool were on track to do something.
It was a pendulum swing, and it only lasted for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it went back to us being battered again.
Yeah.
But incredible
What
memory.
a game that was.
I got another memory for you. Porto,
2004.
Jose Mourinho, unknown to us in England, and then they play Man United. And that run down
celebration.
the touchline.
Oh my word.
So this man in this
It's iconic,
suit,
that, isn't it?
in his suit with his coat, and he's legging it down the touchline, and he's jumping around with his Porto players at Old Trafford, beating Man United.
During that era as well.
Unbelievable.
Of Man United with the Fergie.
Context, Man United were one of the best teams in the world at that point. Expected to be in the final. In Murchie's Marks category, you'd put Man United as almost guaranteed final at that
That's
stage.
how good they were. And a lot of kids who watch this now, it's really strange seeing a lot of kids born in 2013. They've not seen any of the Fergie era. So you've always known United is this kind of joke.
Yeah.
They might be all right again. They might come good again. But this era of United pre-2013, they were serial winners. They were always one of the best teams in the world. So the fact that this random bloke dragged a random Portuguese team, well, not random, but it's a Portuguese team.
Porto are exactly the same now as they were then in terms
There's no
of
difference.
What you expect them to do.
Exactly that.
You don't look at Porto in the Champions League and expect them to win it.
No.
You think they'll give you a tough game.
Yeah, you'll get a tough game going.
But, at the same time, you could roll them over 3-4.
Yeah, of course you could.
But that was unbelievable. And do you know what? I think that same season, coupled with that, was Monaco. I don't know if you remember Monaco in the Champions League at that point, where they had Morientes on loan from Real, but they had some really clever players. Julie, it was coming through at that time. We talked about Bournemouth on this pod. They played as a team. Was it Deschamps that was the manager?
Was Deschamps the manager?
I think Deschamps. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments, but I think Deschamps was the manager. And Monaco, it was Monaco and Porto, these two teams that shouldn't be there.
Nah.
Because was it a Porto-Monaco final?
I can't remember, mate. After that, be one for post checks, I think.
Check it. Let us know. I think it might have been a Porto-Monaco final, but I know Monaco beat Real Madrid because they let Morientes play against them.
Yeah, and it come back to bite.
And he scored.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So some great memories there. Man United, I've given you some props. I've talked about your treble winning.
Yeah.
I've also got to give you one of my favourite memories, R9.
R9 tearing him to bits.
What a game that was. And do you know what? When I talked to Man United fans about it, it was one of those, they just clap.
You have to, though.
They just go...
You have to.
Fair
Seeing
play.
a player of his calibre single-handedly, he destroyed them. He absolutely destroyed them. And there's not much you can do there as a fan. You just have to applaud.
But what was it? Was it 4-3? Or was it 4-2? I know it was a high-scoring game.
It was a high-scoring game. I think it was 1-1 at some point, and then R9 just went bang, bang.
Yeah.
But
we talk about the Galacticos, the OG Galacticos. So you had R9, you had Raul, you had Figo, you had Zidane, you had Roberto Carlos, Helguera, Hierro, all these Salgado, all these great players turning up to Old Trafford, And then you had Man United in their pomp as well. They had Beckham at the time, and Beckham with his links to Real Madrid at that point.
Very murky, yeah.
The edge. Him and Fergie were clashing a little bit, but then they had Scholes, they had Keane, they had Giggs, they had Van Nistelrooy, they had the players. These unbelievable players. Rio at the back, and it was a great game to watch. Talk about those ITV games. Great memories. Those ITV games. Yeah. That was one that was on in the evening, and everybody was talking about it. Getting home to watch Man United versus Real Madrid.
And it didn't matter if you didn't have any affiliation with United, because it was on TV. You watched it, and you watched it more for Madrid to see the Galacticos. Yeah. And wow, what a team.
And we were treated to something special there. What a great game. And that was one you sit, you watch, you're glued to. Yeah. Wow, don't take your eye off this.
R9, unbelievable player. I think injuries ruined him a bit.
Yeah.
But again, for those who are watching and are slightly younger, who've probably never seen R9 play, you only ever really know him as an icon on EAFC. But if you ever do get a chance, just go and have a look at some clips of what he did. Fantastic. He humiliated people. He was the original. That's why we call him the original Ronaldo. Yeah. Because he is the original Ronaldo. He's the one who revolutionised his name. Yeah. Everyone knew about Ronaldo as when I was a kid. And then obviously we had CR7, but just go and watch him. It is a special player. I
love watching him play. Love watching him play. But that Ronaldo. To be honest, that Ronaldo wasn't even the best Ronaldo. No. Because by that point he'd had his knee injuries. Yeah. And he had a really good World Cup, didn't he? Yeah. In 2002, I think it was, and he'd signed for Real Madrid. Not far off the back of that, and. But he wasn't the same. The one at Inter and the one at Barca.
Yeah. Monster.
Incredible.
Monster.
But even then, with his injuries, he could still score goals. Yeah. And he could do tap-ins, he could do long-range efforts. He had strength, he had pace. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. He was a player. Yeah. He was a player. He could do everything. He could do absolutely everything.
And you won't see players like him again now, I don't think. There'll never be someone like him in this current modern era of football. It was just ridiculous to watch. What a player he was. And it's unfortunate that you don't see anyone like that anymore. But
I do feel we got robbed of a Champions League memory this season. In the fact that I think if Royce could have won it with Dortmund,
yes,
I think that would have been a big
Dortmund
memory.
should have actually been 2-up that first half as well.
They should have.
They were really good.
They should have. They could have finished those.
Yeah.
I think a forgotten one would be Tottenham's run to the final.
It was. I think the Ajax game in particular.
I was thinking about the City game.
Oh, yeah. Because Sterling's last-minute goal.
Well,
that got chalked off.
Exactly. Yeah. Aguero offside. Yeah. So VAR was fairly new at this point.
Yeah.
VAR was fairly new at this point, and it was Tottenham versus Man City in the quarter-final. I think it was. Quarter-final. At the Etihad. People expected City to win.
Yeah.
Tottenham were going through. Last minute, ball comes to Aguero. We've seen that before. Aguero.
Yeah.
It goes across to Sterling. Sterling pokes it in. We think City are going through. We think City have done
4-3, I think it was. It would have been 4-3, but.
And then VAR stepped in, and Aguero was just offside.
Yeah, literally a touch offside.
Yeah.
And that was VAR's probably first, I don't know, big moment, wasn't it? In terms of English football anyway. But yeah, that I remember watching it and just be like, oh, what a game to watch.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic game to watch. And then obviously you had the game against Ajax as well.
And this was Ten Hag's Ajax. Now, again, people will be watching going, Ten Hag, he's rubbish. That Ajax team, and I don't endorse him going out and trying to sign all of them. But that Ajax team were really young, up and coming, played some great football.
They were really good.
So to get to the semi-final.
Yeah. And
the semi-final.
I think they so in the first leg they went to Spurs, and I think they were 2-0 up. I think they won 2-0.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, Ajax have just come back. They beat Madrid in the last round. Well, they didn't beat Madrid. They battered Madrid in the last round. So they've come back. You think, Ajax special team. They're going to go through to the final. Obviously they play at the Amsterdam Arena. I think they go 1-0 up. game over.
Yeah.
Game over. This is Tottenhm. That no Harry Kane either. He was out injured.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So you had Lucas Moura up top, and it just clicked. And something happened.
Lucas Moura hat-trick.
Lucas Moura hat-trick. Obviously, you've got Lucas Moura scoring with literally the last kick of the game.
You got Pochettino tears.
Pochettino going crazy. Yeah. That was some game to watch. Even you still had Dele Alli playing as well. Dele Alli running.
Well, that Tottenham team was. I know we give Spurs a lot of stick being Spursy, but that Tottenham team, they were building something special. They were building something special.
I think that might have been even that year or the year before where they finished second with like 89 points or something to Man City.
Well, they had the thing is with Tottenham, that whole Champions League run, you had the two parallels, and you had, and we've said this before, you had Liverpool under Klopp, you had Spurs under Pochettino. Yeah. And talking about memories, that season in the Champions League, you had Arsenal, Tottenham, you had Tottenham, Ajax, you had Liverpool, Barca, corner taken quickly.
Big one.
But then the final was dull. The
final was awful. I think the handball ruined that though, in the first minute.
I'll take it. But those semi-finals where you had Liverpool 3-0 down against the Newcastle, and it wasn't a 3-0 game.
No.
But Messi with his brilliance, the free kick at the end, and it should have been 4.
Dembele missed the sitter.
Should have been 4.
It would have been game over then.
Would have been game over. But then to do the comeback, special Anfield night. Trent, Origi, love that man.
Cool hero.
Absolutely. But then you had the parallel of Spurs with Ajax,
same, exactly the same.
Coming from behind,
last kick of the game.
Those semi-finals, they were on the edge. Semi-finals,
much better than the final anyway.
Miles better.
Much better than the final that year.
Have you got any more Champions League memories?
I'm just gonna. I've spoke about it before. It's the Leicester Sevilla game for me. Obviously, it's our first time being in the Champions League. We played a Sevilla side who were known for winning the Europa League. I think they won the Europa League the year before. And we went to Sevilla. We lost 2-1. They battered us. They absolutely battered us. And we come back. That was Claudio's last game for us, so he got sacked after that. Come back. We had Shaker in charge, so rest in peace him as well. And that was probably one of my favourite nights ever as a football fan. Being at the King Power, those Leicester fans who go now will probably say the same. That night was the best atmosphere we've ever had at the KP. It was unbelievable. It was so loud. Obviously, Mark Albrighton scored. It was one of my favourite nights ever. Probably even eclipsing the Premier League win before that. It was just such an amazing night. And obviously, seeing Leicester in the draw a week later in the Champions League quarter-final with these 7 other clubs. Obviously, we played Atletico, got cheated out of a game with them, but that was some memory for me. Like, wow, seeing my club in the Champions League last 16, beating a very top team at the time, because they were a top team at the time. Great memory. Loved it. Would love to see us in the Champions League again at some point.
And I think that in itself, I'm wanting you guys to comment. I'm wanting you guys to get in touch with us, because I think what Murchie's just said there about Champions League memories, we've got one with Villa right now. Villa beating Bayern.
Yeah, that's going to be a memory for a lot of Villa fans, both young and old.
That's your memory.
That's a memory for a lifetime.
And the fact that the last time they played in the Champions League or in the European Cup was when they won it against Bayern.
Yeah.
So, absolutely incredible. So there are loads of memories that are taking place. And actually, I think that's where teams have got it wrong before in talking about, we just need to qualify. Once you qualify, then you get the chance to make these memories.
Yeah.
If you go on and win it, absolutely fantastic. City fans will talk about their night in Istanbul. Yeah. Memories. Those of us that have won it, we'll always remember those finals. The Spurs final might have been a dull final, but I was celebrating. When you won it, because you win the Champions League. But do you know what? I think from everything we discussed there, my favourite thing was talking about those Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
ITV. When you get to watch these games.
It was just prime.
It was fantastic.
Prime time for as a football fan, as a young lad.
Yeah.
Like, just being able to watch football at that time. It was hard because everything was on Sky Sports, expensive. So to come home after a day at school, just to know that the Champions League is on free TV, watch it downstairs with parents. What a memory that is.
Absolutely fantastic.
I'd love for them to go back to that at some point and show it on free TV again.
Unfortunately, I don't think
it's never going to happen again.
I think the closest we get is Amazon games now, but you still have to have Prime.
Yeah.
But I love the final is always free.
Yeah, that's good.
I like the final is always free, and that's really important. I gave a shout out to my nephew Javen beforehand. He loves watching the Champions League final. So that's important. But you've missed the run-up. We just said the final isn't always as good as some of the memories leading up to it. Not. So I think you do miss out.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to have one final segment coming next, because the next segment, after talking about memories, I think we want to talk about why English teams don't dominate the Champions League. So join us for the fourth and final part coming up next.